Things I hate about modern cars. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, about this topic. A buddy of mine was looking for a car, and he's not a real tech savvy guy, and he's not a performance guy, but he just wanted a new car. And he asked me to come along with him to look at some of the brands that were out there and to figure out what's good and bad and what's a good deal and not. And it's funny because when I started going to the different dealerships and looking at different manufacturers of cars and everything like that, and I had to come up with a list of things that I hate about modern cars. Some of you are going to agree with me, some probably you won't, but I figured I'd just shoot it out there and then make it a discussion and see what you guys think. One thing that tops the list, tops a list that drives me freaking crazy, is the piano gloss black and fake chrome trim on a lot of these new cars. And it might look cool, you know, for the bling factor when the car is brand new, but I noticed within the dealerships, you're sitting in brand new cars, you're looking at brand new cars and test driving new cars. Even the new cars have scratches. You know, they have the piano gloss inserts on the touch points, all of the, you know, where you would put your hands and keys and all that kind of stuff. And you already see them scratched already. Brand new cars with 12 miles on them, and they're already scratched already. So can you imagine what that's going to look like in 3-4 years? That's my biggest pet peeve with these cars. There's no reason for it. I don't know where they get it from. My second biggest pet peeve is so much technology, so much fluff and bullshit and touchscreens and buttons and so much crap. Menus within menus within menus. We looked at some of the high-end BMWs down to the Kias, and man, some of the infotainment centers are just, they're shitty, and it takes a while to understand them and grasp them and all that kind of stuff. But I was coming to think, I says, well, what about when these cars get older, when this stuff needs to be repaired? If you can't have a physical button to turn the HVAC on or to adjust the radio, and you have everything's within the infotainment center, it's crazy. How much is that going to cost to fix? So that's another pet peeve of mine. Now, on top of the infotainment centers, infotainment systems, I can't even pronounce that, is the stuck on screens. You know what I mean. The Mazdas and the BMWs, they have that fucking nice dashboard sculpted, nice interior, and then they put it looks like a screen right in the middle of the freaking dashboard. I mean, you can't find a way to fold that down, to do something like that. That turned me off on, I'm not even buying a car, and I sat in the car, and the car was nice, and it turned me off just to have that big stupid screen in the front of me. Also, some of the performance cars I noticed, you know, with these turbo cars, everything's turbo now, is that each manufacturer seems to have their own way of pumping fake noise into the cabin, whether it's through ducts, through the intake duct going into the compartment, or through the speakers of the system. And some of them you can't even turn them off, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's fake noise, people. Another thing is the big wheel and tire combo of these cars. Yeah, they look really cool having 22s or 20s and all that kind of stuff. But when you got a car every day and you're driving like a Nissan Maxima or something like that, and you got 20-inch wheels with tires that are about that thick on it, you know, that's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, potholes and bent rims and messed up tires. And again, those tires are more expensive, but it decreases the ride quality and the rumbling inside the car and all that kind of stuff if you want like a non-performance type of car. Also, another note too, I find that these cars, a lot of these cars have these big brake packages also to buy, the big shiny Brembo brakes and so on and so forth. I gotta laugh at some of that, because some of some of that is just way overkill for a street-driven car. You don't need these big giant brakes in the cars. While they do look cool, yes, can't agree with that more. But when you have to replace those brakes, especially if you drive the car every day, you got to replace those brake pads, and if you got like a frozen caliper, those 4-piston, 6-piston calipers are a low production item, and they are almost twice or 4 times the amount of money as a standard type of caliper. Also, when you have these, 2-piece rotors, they are almost double the price per corner to replace. And that's another side note you might want to think about when buying a new car. Price. Man, they sell the same freaking platform car with starting from 20 grand going up to 40,000 for the same basic foundation of a car. I mean, ridiculous. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's in the car industry, or the dealerships and all that kind of stuff. It's just wow. I mean, you could just see that. Yeah, whatever. That's just another thing. Another thing too we found, and a lot of manufacturers, like Honda's really guilty for that, and some of the other manufacturers, is the all the fake air ducts and the plastic pieces they stick on the bumper to make it look more sportier or something like that. I'm like, okay, it looks like garbage, and it just, I don't know, doesn't make any sense to me. That's just the fake shit they stick on all the cars. Just make it look nice, and you don't need any of that fake shit on there. Nice, the LED headlights and the whole thing like that. Yes, they are brighter, but man, if you get hit a rock, if you break them, if they burn out, because they do burn out. It's not like replacing a $14 bulb from like Pep Boys and sticking it in. Some of these cars, you can see that you have to replace the whole assembly. And look up those prices, man. They are expensive to replace. With all of this new tech that's in these vehicles, I think it's actually going to decrease the value substantially to any of these cars down the line for resale. And I think that most of these manufacturers are hoping for that, so that people would turn around these cars and all that kind of other stuff. But you can see that in the high-end luxury market. Look at any of the high-dollar BMWs, Mercedes of 6-7 years old. They're $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 cars that you can get for almost half that price. Or at a certain miles or a age limit, these cars just fall off the radar, and you can buy these cars for almost nothing, because when these cars start needing maintenance or things to be replaced or things go wrong, that's when people dump the cars, and it's up to the used car market or the people buying that used car to figure out or not whether they can afford that car by doing all the maintenance, all the things that need to be done in these cars. Just all the bullshit, man. It's so funny in a day and age like this, is that you have all this technology in the car with the blind assist and radar monitoring and all this kind of stuff and all this shit to play within the car. You would figure that you would want the driver to focus on driving, not playing around with all the shit in the car.